Number 16 of the 48 ways is b'miut schora. B'miut means to minimize. Schora is business. And when the rabbis say it's one of the ways, then you focus. Minimize business, there's a positive aspect. You have to do some business. A minimum is necessary. You have to do business in order to understand what life is about. There's a negative. Too much business will wipe you out. That we all recognize. People are all into business and they don't know what living is about, right? Then there's the positive negative, which is to minimize, draw back. That means go home at 4:30 instead of 5 o'clock if you got your own business. Don't get fired. That's too minimum. That's no business, right? Now, what does that mean? It means that you got to use business acumen for living. You see, business is a training. You know what a hard-headed businessman is, yeah? Did I make a profit or not? Did you get pleasure or not? As far as living is concerned. Now we're going to focus in the how on the positive, because that's where we can learn the most about how to grow in living in pleasure. So I'd like to focus your attention. I'll give you a story. The story goes like this. Eliyahu Navi, who lived, he's still alive amongst us. Eliyahu Navi was walking down the street one day, and he met a gentleman who was a bit frivolous, empty-headed, walking down the street thinking of nothing. So he said to him, Beni, my son, after all, we're all children of the Almighty, my son, did you study any of the written instructions for life? He said, no, I didn't. He said, my son, did you study any of the oral instructions? He says, no. He says, my son, in the day of judgment, you're going to stand in front of the Almighty. He says, all right, what did you accomplish in this world? Did you study my instructions? What are you going to answer? So the fellow says to him, he says, Mana yeshli. I got my answer. So Eliyahu says to him, yeah, let me in on it. Let me in on it. So the fellow says to Eliyahu Navi, he says, I'm going to say to the Almighty, you didn't give me intelligence. You didn't give me the power of understanding. I couldn't study your instructions. I didn't understand it. I couldn't fathom it. Almighty, it's your fault. That's what I'm going to answer. Yeah. So Eliyahu says to him, how do you make a living? What is your business? He says, Daya Ganuchi. He's a fisherman. Eliyahu says, how do you go about this? He says, well, you got to make a net in a certain way that you pull it in, it doesn't get snagged, and this is the way you do it, and you got to find where the fish roam, and you go out and you pull in the boat. It's a whole science. Yeah. So Eliyahu says to him, Beni, how did you learn all that? He says, for that the Almighty gave me understanding. For that He gave me intelligence. Huh? So he says, my son, if the Almighty gave you intelligence and understanding to learn all of this profession, didn't He give you enough to understand His instructions for living? So it says that Bocha Harbe, he cried exceedingly. When Eliyahu tells you something, it gets you right in your heart. And he said he was bawling. He was crying. I regret. So Eliyahu Navi tells this gentleman, he says to him, Al titztaer kol kach. Don't take it that badly to heart, he says. Da'alecho. You should know, every last human being that passes through this earth, they come with this defense. When every one of us, when we get upstairs, we're going to use the same answer. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the Holy One, blessed be He, answers, Ma'asecho soisrim es dvorecho. Your actions prove that what you're telling me is full of malarkey. You see, every last one of us feels, if only I understood how to deal with my parents, I would do it. I want peace. But the Almighty didn't give me understanding. If only I understood how to use my potential, I would do it. I would reach for greatness. But the Almighty didn't give me enough intelligence. I would have been at peace with my friends. I would have been at peace with my brothers. I would have dealt with my parents. I would have given them pleasure. I would have accomplished. I would have dealt with my wife and made her happy. And, sure, but you didn't give me intelligence. We're all going to answer the Almighty that way. And the Almighty is going to take our careers. He's going to show us what we did in business and how we prepared for a job. And how when we got involved in a business that was in trouble, how we went around looking for advice. Yeah. What is it that we can learn from our seeking our livelihood for the betterment of the quality of life? Make the money? Okay. Now how are you going to spend it? What are you going to live with? So the first of the how is, you got to appreciate that the profit motive is a fantastic thing. Making a buck has got this way of getting us oriented, practical. Im tevakshena kakesef. If you seek it like a man seeks money, oz tevin yiras Hashem, then you will understand the fear of God. That's the idea, that we have to look at what we do in order to make a dollar, in order to make a livelihood, and seek wisdom, seek meaning, seek understanding, seek pleasure in the same way. Then you will attain the fear of God, the love of God, the ultimate pleasures. That's the focus. So number 2 is that in order to do this, we've got to get involved. If you've had experience, and some of us have had experience, we know what we've done for money. Yeah? If you haven't had experience, then learn from what you've seen people. You have the experience of seeing people. Your father is in business. Your brother's in business. You've read stories about business. And if you can't get it from that, just think about it. You would know what you would do in business. What makes sense in living from what makes sense when you got to make a dollar. Okay, so number 3 is, let's take big business. Let's start from the top. Yeah? What does big business do that is appropriate? You've got to appreciate that as far as you're concerned, you're the biggest business around. If you're the president of General Motors, you don't have a bigger business than yourself. Yeah? So deal with yourself as if you're big business. Now, what does big business do? Some ideas. Come on, what does big business do?
I think the best example is how
Efficiency experts. Efficiency experts, because every single turn of the bolts, yeah? If the workman has to take 10 steps when he can take 2 steps, and you multiply that by 10,000 workmen for 8 hours a day, yeah? Got efficiency experts, right? Okay, how does that translate for your life? Come on.
Every move in your life should be...
Okay, so now, when you wake up in the morning, wear your shoes? And wherever you put them, so you go around looking, Where are my shoes? Yeah, that's 5 minutes a day, right? 5 minutes a day. That's wasted. Yeah, sometimes, by accident, yeah? Right? Organize yourself, because that multiplied, that's your life. How many days of your life are you going to be a shoe seeker? Keep on looking for your shoes, Then you get to the office, you'll be super efficient, you'll ask the secretary, why did you file it? Yeah? What did you file it under? Under shoes? Right? You yell at the secretary. Well, you file your shoes somewhere, anywhere, yeah? And the secretary, what's the matter with you? Don't you know we're in business? Tell me, how do you brush your teeth? You brush your teeth every morning? Come on, you go like this. Enough? Another one for good luck. Another. You don't have the faintest idea. What is it? 3 times, 4 times, every time. You feel like it. Make a study. How many times you have to make the passes? That's it. 1, 2, 3. All right, finished. That's too petty. Man, you're big business. You're big business. That's the idea. You got to get across. Okay, what other ideas do we get from big business? Quality control. Yeah? One car zooms away from the assembly line. The other car goes chug, chug, chug. They can't stay in business that way, right? Just in America, you can deliver it and they go back to the dealer. And, because we're used to shoddy stuff already, yeah? But there's quality control. I mean, they got the idea. You got to have quality control. How does that transfer to you? One day you're swinging, yeah? The other day, what's going on? Go and figure out how do you get a uniform quality, top quality. Was a different workman on the job? It was a, yeah? Inspector, who's messing up the assembly line? What else? Go on, a couple of more ideas. We'll go on to smaller businesses. These are two separate ideas, Scott. One is there's no big business that doesn't have a 5-year plan. Yeah. They plan things out. They don't say, hey, you know what, let's make a factory in Dallas. Yeah. Okay, let's assembly line in Dallas. Go down there, buy a come on, they say, where will a factory go up? We'll spend 6 months researching it. Yeah. Where are the raw materials coming from? What's the labor market? How about real estate? Right? All the things that go into it. Okay, now you're a big business. What are your plans? Well, I'll mosey along in Europe for 3 months, and then I'll get some kind of a job. Well, I'll look at the want ads, and I'll make some money, and sometime in the future I'll get married, and if I meet a girl, I'll get married before, and what are your plans? What do you need? Happiness, techniques, what do you need to live? You don't even have the faintest idea. Do a research job. Find out, what do you need? The second thing is that even if you have a going concern, Scott, there is no big business today that doesn't have a research and development. What more? What other products that we don't make that we can make a buck on? Related to our fields or not related to our fields, yeah? According to the investment, startup, etc. Every big business has such a thing. What does that do with you? Don't be satisfied. All right, so you're doing okay. So, all right, so you're making the money. You have a happy wife. You have happy children. Great. Now, relax. Come on, research and development. You want more pleasure. I'll teach you how to be happy. I'm happy enough. Well, if you're coming from Chase Manhattan Bank and you come over to General Motors and we have a deal where you make an investment, you make $2 billion this year, you get straight to the president, right? They don't say, I'm sorry, Chase. We got, we're making a lot of money. And you know, if you were a big businessman, sure I'd listen. Somebody will teach you how to be happy, how to have joy, how to be tough, how to deal with your children, how to deal with your wife and your... Come on! That's living. Number 4 is, okay, let's go down to small business. Can you imagine a grocery guy who's closed at 8 o'clock in the morning? 8:30? He ain't sick, Fred. There's a serious problem. He must be in the hospital. If he has a headache, or he has a cold, yeah, do you think he opens up? 7 o'clock or 7:15? 7 o'clock. Yeah. Well, what about if you don't feel like it this morning? You go, you got a business, yeah? What time do you get up every morning? Sometimes 6:45, sometimes 7:30, 8 o'clock. What are your business ain't open today? A little later. Well, you got no customers, no pleasure to get today? You're just like a basically responsible with your small business, never mind big business. All right. Do you know the 48 ways by heart? No. Why don't you know 48 ways by heart? Too many articles to carry, huh? Now, what does that have to do with being a grocery store man? Did you ever go into a grocery guy and ask him, do you have sardines? And he says, wait, let me look it up in my list. Never in my life. If the guy has 10,000 items in his store, he knows 10,000 items with the price and with his markup. Is that right? Now, if you had one of those appliance stores, on Broadway, these electronic gadget stores, etc., right? You can see yourself with one of those stores, right? Yeah? Huh? Every item, how low you can go, the C line, right? And the profit you'd like to make. And you're also looking at the guy and figuring how much will he pay. I'm talking about these guys. Well, of course, your grocery store. How much you can, right? Well, what the heck is going on? 48 ways? You don't know the 48 ways? And then I'm asking you, do you have to blush or not? The Almighty gave you understanding. He gave you the wherewithal. If you value it, if you're real, this is valuable products. All right, now tell me, you're running one of these places on Broadway, right? You got that feel for it, yeah? All right, and this guy comes in and he says, hey, you guys are all a bunch of crooks. You throw him out of the store? Huh? You throw him out of the store? Wait, friend, you haven't opened up yet. Huh? You say, not me. I'll give you C line. Right? Plus, yeah? So the idea is that somebody who can give you a profit, so he doesn't have to be the sweetest soul in the world and the most charming customer. Huh? All you want to know is how much does he have to spend. A nudnik who comes into your store, all you want is his bucks. A nudnik who comes into your life, all you want is some tips on how to have pleasure. Do you see that parallel? You got to learn to deal. Never mind whether you like people or not. Do they make sense? Can they give you information? Right? Tell me, does a small businessman, when you open up a store in Broadway, are you sure you're going to make a profit? You're never sure. Risk. You work on risk. A businessman, even a small businessman, is taking risks. Yeah. Now, can you imagine that you have a small store and you're starting up? Costs are $100,000. That's a small store today, right? Yeah? Now are you going to start a profit this first day? You have to pay off the bank, you have to pay off your family, you have to pay off right? You live on bare minimum. You don't say, what am I working for? Well, I'm building up equity. There'll be a time when I'll be able to buy a car, right? Or a bigger car. Yeah? Okay, now what does that have to do with wisdom? With the information, if you seek it like you seek money.
You'll say that in the beginning it may not be so pleasurable to you. In the end run, in the long run, it's going to be...
That's beautiful, you see? Don't take the happiness game, the happiness drill and say, hey, it didn't work. Yeah, wait, try it 10 times. It's a big risk. 10 times, 10 hours I'm going to spend on this happiness drill. And what if it doesn't work? Spend 10 hours, but if it does work, maybe it's even worth 30 hours. A heavy investment. Maybe it's worth a half an hour a day for 6 months before you start seeing results. Oh, that's too much. For goodness sake, if you can be happy the rest of your life, is it worth an investment? All right. Number 5 is, you ever have a job? How many guys here had a job? You work? Yeah, you had a job, right? Okay, so the boss says, go see this customer, right? So what do you say? I don't feel like it now? Or it won't work? You say, boys, they have better customers, but you go to see this guy. Right on. You got a job, you get paid, you do the work. Yeah? Now what does that mean? Don't ever tell me you can't do an assignment. It's too much trouble. You can imagine that. The guy says it's too much trouble, it's too much effort. Come on, it's your pleasure. You're getting paid. The discipline, it's there, that's all. Now when the boss talks to you, you're somewhere else. Oh, pardon me, boss, I was thinking about Hawaii. He talks to you, listen. So if somebody can teach you wisdom, where are you? There's something wrong. It's crazy. This is living. This is what it's about. All right, number 6 is, that look, everyone, or practically everyone here has gone to school, gone to college, yeah? You ever imagine a guy walks into the university, you see, he registers on Sunday, and on Friday he says, so where do I get paid? You look at him, what do you mean, friend? I mean, you pay us. He says, what are you talking about? I came here to make money. I want to be an engineer. Yeah? That's all right. When you're an engineer, you go get a job, then you get paid. He says, no, I want to get paid now. You take him to the loony bin. Yeah? Why? Because everybody understands that you want to be an engineer, first you got to learn the business. Yeah? Then you got to market your trades. It's a risky thing too. Yeah? Sometimes you can't land a job as an engineer. Yeah? Job market is a little tight. And what does that have to do with living? You say you listen to a class on how to use business acumen, or you listen to a class on how to be happy, or you listen to a class on how to gain self-confidence, you see? And you say, I walked out, I don't have self-confidence, I'm not happier. We get paid on the spot. Invest. Train yourself. Then you'll see whether you can make it work. All right, number 7 is that the point of all of this, and I've been trying to focus you on, the point of all of this is be realistic. That's what business means. That's what making money means. Down to earth, realistic. What is necessary to accomplish your purposes? What purpose do you want? And I showed you from these different places where you can come from, a big business, small business, a job, a career. You are realistic, natural, and motivated. To attain living, you got to be an efficient businessman, motivated and realistic, down to earth. Yeah, okay. So number 8 is that the rabbis say that the most important thing in life that a human being can do is to be a businessman. What does it mean to be a businessman? Be a businessman means keep your books. Every businessman knows how much he sold today, what it cost him, what was his profit margin. Is that right? So the rabbis say that the Torah, the Almighty's instructions is Al Ken Yom Moishlu. Because of this, the rulers over themselves, the people who have themselves in hand, say, Bayu Cheshbon, come, let us take an accounting. What did you accomplish today? What did you lose? How far have you gained in pleasure? How far have you lost in pleasure? You see that? Take an accounting every day. So, B of this is, a further elaboration of it is, make a plan for tomorrow. How are you going to get up in the morning? You're going to go looking for your shoes? Okay, write it down. 10 minutes, shoe seeking. Yeah? 10 minutes, I'm going to grunt before I start seeking my clothes. Okay, budget for that too. Yeah? Now I'm going to go, morning, I don't feel like getting up. Oh, what a day. That's good start, proper motivation. Write it down. If that's what you're going to do, write it down. If you don't feel like writing it down, then write down what would you like to do. It's great to be alive. You jump out of bed, 2 minutes, you're all dressed. Is that what you like to do? Write it down. Then you say, I better put my shoes in the right place. The big businessman, when he's going to the office, he's going over his plan for the day, right? What are you going to do while you eat? I'm going to be a zombie. Okay, now, but plan it out. Plan it out. The next night, take an accounting. How did it go? Check. Loss, 1. Loss, 1. Hey, moving up the ladder. No, down. Wow. Hey, I got to straighten this place out. Fire a couple of these idiots. Yeah. Next day, check your plan. Plan for the next day. Yeah. That will make you a great human being. Just that. That's what the rabbis say. C of this is that the rabbis say that what you really got to do is every day ask yourself, what is the big deal? The really big deal. Even in business, how do I make the billion? But in life, what is it the bottom line? What are you living for? What's the ultimate? What can you get out of life? What's the greatest pleasure? What is the greatest pleasure? Go ahead. So you talk it over. Come on, discuss it. What is your greatest pleasure? What is your greatest pleasure? What do you get the biggest kicks out of? How do you get it? Wait, what? He's not taking anything from you. You're not going to take anything from him. You'll only both do a heck of a lot more business. More pleasure. So, number 9 is, the most important thing is, tell me, I'll give you $1 billion for your house. Yeah. $1 billion agurot. Yeah. $1 billion drachma. You better check it out. What's a drachma worth? Yeah. If you, money. You don't say, okay, fine, let's $1 billion. We'll write down $1 billion. Say $1 billion. No, I didn't mean $1 billion. Then what are you going to give me? I'll give you $1 billion bafufsticks. How about it? $1 billion bafufsticks for your crummy watch. $1 billion. Will you sell? Oh, now he wants to know what's it worth. What's a bafufstick, right? You get it? Now, what does that have to do with living? Not all pleasures are the same. There's the drachma pleasure, there's the lira pleasure, there's the shekel pleasure, there's the franc pleasure, there's the dollar pleasure, there's the sterling pound pleasure. Nobody's going to trade in all the pleasures of Chinese food, for the pleasure of success. Right? You give up Chinese food. The pleasure of having children. They won't have Chinese food, right? So you've got to define. You're going out, you're investing. 3 months. That's your life. That's your house. That's the whole business. What are you getting for it? Well, I'm going to have pleasure. I'm touring. How much is that worth? What do you say? Well, you walk around, and it's a lot uncomfortable. You don't really know why you're here most of the time. But occasionally you see a nice building. I mean, how many pleasure dollars does touring bring you? 3 months? Number 10 is that learn about pleasure. Get the expert advice. And in Torah we say there are 5 categories of pleasure. Now, and anybody here ever travel in India? They have first class coach, which is pretty good. Second class coach, survivable. Third class travel, I don't know if you can call it coach, not recommended. Fourth class, that's when you're hanging on to the steps. Yeah. Fifth class, that's when you're underneath the train. Yeah. You get there, but man, you don't want to travel that way. Yeah. Okay, now there are 5 classes of pleasure. Wouldn't you like to know whether you're traveling first class, second, third, fourth, or fifth? You realize that first class costs a little more. You willing to invest a whole month to find what these 5 categories of pleasure are? What do you say, Jeff? Is it worth it? Definitely. That's a man. All right, then we'll give it to the rest of these nudniks. you get out of the class. Okay, so let me tell you what the 5th class pleasure is: the hot dogs. Material pleasures. That's 5th class. It's pleasure. Unless it swallows you up and becomes lust and you didn't even taste the ice cream. Yeah? The popsicles, the popcorn, that's all 5th class. There's a new category, and the 5 classes on the train isn't the same thing. It's a different world. The 4th class pleasure is love, which includes beauty, music, beautiful mountain, a tree, beauty. That's 4th class. That's where most people settle, between 5th and 4th. But they do have a sense of the 3rd class pleasure. And the 3rd class pleasure is kavod. In Hebrew, the word means heavy, meaning. Now, people will do an awful lot for kavod, you see, for meaning. Red Brigade isn't into beauty. You don't die for beauty, for love. Yeah, there's a time when it's your family, there's real love then. You can even die for love, but it's very rare. But the people who are out there killing, being killed, etc., they want meaning. They don't even know enough to enjoy it when they have it. But they're serious, you see. You realize that's a cut above. Love, beauty. Yeah. All right, the second class pleasure is power. You ever hear power corrupts? Now you understand that when people are living for kavod, for meaning, they pervert it. That's where all your generation is. Success. You gotta succeed. You gotta be a good man. You gotta succeed. Meaningful. If I can't earn my own money, then I'm no good. I'm valueless. Get me to a psychiatrist. Something's wrong. What do you mean something's wrong? You're a nice guy. You help people. I can't make a buck, a heavy buck. Huh? Do you see that? That's perversion. The good man, the heavy man, is a man who helps someone, who's accomplishing, who's got value, who has wisdom. Yeah? But it's perverted. Power is really badly perverted. Most people don't know that they want it, but when they move into a job, you ever hear, power, and then he starts squeezing people, and then he starts, power, the guy who's the man of the community, he starts throwing his weight around, he feels power, it goes to his head, he becomes arrogant, he's a bum, you can't talk to him, right? That's not power. That's not power, that's no pleasure. He's crazy. You know what power is? Real power is to be like God. Real power is to create, is to make people happy, make grow, make live, give pleasure. First class pleasure, the very first class pleasure, you gotta stay 1 month. You want to know what the first class pleasure is? You gotta stay a month, and then you can come and ask me. Number 11 is that, look, we've mentioned already in Arichatz Vasayim, in putting it on your lips, that in decision making, you should make pros and cons. Yeah? Decision making shouldn't be made by agonizing. People say, I'll think about it. What they mean is I'll agonize. Should I stay or shouldn't I stay? Or should I or shouldn't I? I will. I won't. I will. I won't. We've already stated it a couple of times. Put it on a piece of paper. Get it out of the will I won't. And focus. What are the reasons? Give all the pros and all the cons. All the reasons that you should stay and study wisdom at Isha Torah. You'll get a lot of pleasure. You'll understand yourself. All the reasons that you should leave. You got 100 reasons, right? Okay? Then you can weigh them out. Which is more important, the popsicle or wisdom? Yeah. You get it? You can weigh them out. But really, a wise businessman, you see, doesn't just put on all the reasons. He gives them a weight. How many dollars is it worth? You've got to give yourself a weight for each one and then count up the points. That's the decision. Simple way to make decisions. An intelligent way. B of this is that when you make that stuff, the reasons for and the reason against, the reasons for the pleasures that you're going to have, the units, after you do that, always remember a life return over a quick profit. You see? Give me an investment of $10,000 and you get $20,000 immediately. And somebody else comes to you and he says, give me an investment of $20,000, right? And I'll give you $2,000 a month for the rest of your life. Which do you buy? You can't compare it, right? So when you make an investment, always take into account life return. If you learn how to be happy, friend, you're not going to be happy one day. The rest of your life. And fringe benefits. Always remember the fringe benefits. You'll be a better husband, a better father. Your wife will love you more if you're a happy person. Yeah? So always remember. Look all around. See what it's worth in totality. Develop. Okay, number 12. Somebody teaches you a piece of wisdom, right? You hear something, like a businessman, yeah? So, A is, are you buying? What do you say? Will it increase your pleasure in life if you make a list of all your pleasures and put it according to priority, yeah? Sounds good, right? Are you going to do it? Well, I'm thinking about it. What do you mean thinking about it? Well, let's make a contract this afternoon. Well, I have other things to invest in. What? I'm going to dream. Okay, what other investments are you considering? When are you going to consider it? How much time do you want to think it over? As long as it takes, you can make $100,000, son. And if you don't buy today, somebody... Then it'll take that afternoon. How much is this worth?
This is worth a lot also, but if you don't start today, you won't lose it if you don't start today.
Oh no? How many things have you lost until now? How many deals have you lost until now? You won't lose this? On wisdom. Yeah, if you don't start today, I'll start tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. Someday, what do you remember? It's gone. You lost it. You don't have no opportunity anymore. We postpone it. We're gonna meet the lawyer some other time, sometime, somewhere, and it all goes to the devil. and we're 70, and we say, oh, I had opportunities to make money. Did you ever hear a guy talking like that? Yeah. Oh, I had such opportunities, but I was sleeping in bed, and I postponed it. What a great feeling, huh? I had opportunities. I really could have figured out how to live. This is the idea. You hear wisdom, the first thing. A, decision, buying. If it's a steal, today, I'll make a decision. B, you bought, you got it, you did it, use it 3 shifts. Yeah. 3 shifts. If you know how to be happy, 3 shifts. Get it into you. Don't use it occasionally. You bought it. You use it all the time. A negative is simply, the negative is too much business. We all know that people get lost in business. You know, the reason why is because money has got this. You can't eat popcorn all day long. You can't eat popsicles. You know, the 5th one, you get tired of it. But money. You got $100 million, you want $200 million, $500 million. How come? You get lost in it. It drowns you. How come? It's a symbol of pleasure. It's supposed to be transferred into something that will be meaningful. So you get a lot of these tokens, you know. But if you don't know where to spend it, you can't buy love. You can't buy happiness. Yeah? But we can get lost, actually lost, because it's got that power of promising us everything. So the negative is, don't get lost. The positive negative is to be aware of its power and to control it. So if you go home every day at 4:30 instead of 5, you're running your own place. Go home to your kids. Spend a little time with your wife. That's what you married her for. That's what you should do. Yeah? No, that's lust. That's lust. Okay, the Maisa, what are we going to do about this? Well, the first thing that we can do is make a list of your pleasures and put it in priority and give them values, you know. Popsicles is one, all right? What's your greatest pleasure worth in those values? See, that's the first thing, right? Get a little training. Know your pleasures. Know your pleasures. Yeah? The second assignment is, you're a big businessman, right? Now imagine, on the way to work, what do? You look over your appointment book, make some notes. Yeah? Do you have an appointment book? Have an appointment. If you're a big businessman, you have an appointment book. If I call you up and I say, I want to speak to you tomorrow, will you remember me when you're a multi-millionaire? Yeah? You get it in writing. Okay, you're a multi-millionaire, and I call you up, and you say, Rabbi Weinberg is calling. Well, hey, it's Rabbi Weinberg. All right, I'll fit you in, let's say, 7 weeks from today, 5 minutes between. Yeah? You're a big businessman. How would you run your life? Yeah? You know that you will be booked 2 weeks in advance. You know what you're going to do hour by hour for 2 weeks in advance, right? You are a big businessman. Book yourself for 2 weeks. What are you going to do for 2 weeks? Stretch your mind. Think ahead. What are you going to do?
You have been listening to the 48 Ways to Wisdom.